Well, welcome to another edition of the Mile High Real Estate Spotlight Podcast. And again, this is Brian, and I'm your host here, and just excited today. Each and every time that we do a show, I learn so much more. I get to be able to be around the superstars in the business, the people who are doing things, the things are making things happen, and for the people who are actually helping people over and over again. And I say this, several times that, I try to do a podcast with folks that are getting things done. And so many times I spend time with, folks say, hey, can I be on your podcast? Or can, I spend time and like, well, how many transactions did you do in the last year? And I say, I done one. I said, what are we going to talk about? Or then I don't even ask them and I start talking, and then I ask them a question and everything's a yes or no answer. And so, and I don't think you guys tune in to hear yes or no answers. You tune in to get the best of what people have to offer. And Dena, today, third generation real estate, I guess, realtor or real estate agent. And it's so exciting when you can see this and see the longevity in the areas that she's in. She's in the, the Boulder County and the Limerick County, the Will County, I guess it's northwest Colorado, not all the way west, because you're not only at the, Durango area. I guess that would be southwest. I don't even know what directions I'm thinking about right now, but that she's been here and she knows what she's doing. So Dena, first, before we get started, tell people how they can get a hold of you. That's super important.
Well, the best way is just to give me a phone call.
Okay.
My number is 720-734-8588. You can connect on social. It's just my first name and last name, Dena Schlutz. And then we're also on the web through our website as well, which is www.pros.realtor. That's it. Very simple.
Pros.realtor. Why make it tough, right? Some of these are like, 30 characters long, and you can't remember how to spell it. You can't. I'm not even going to go to you because it's so hard. So pros.realtor. That's great. So tell us a little about, your background, where you grew up, how you, being a third generation, there's got to be stories, maybe from what you learned as a kid that then, I guess turned over and made it possible for you to do what you do now. So tell us a little bit about you and how you got going, what you're doing with what you're doing.
Sure. So born and raised here in Colorado, went to CU, studied finance and international business. And then I got a job at Hewlett Packard, worked there as a financial analyst for several years. And then actually it's my mother-in-law who got me into real estate. She's like, hey, if you're going to work that hard, you might as well work for yourself. So I made the plunge and quit my job at Hewlett Packard and went to work for myself. And that was 26 years ago, and never looked back. I loved HP, but I also loved being my own boss and having my own company. And then my kids also work with me. So that's where the third generation comes in. And we're family-owned, obviously, family-owned business. And we have 7 agents that work for my brokerage. And we're just kind of we call ourselves a SEAL team, in that we kind of are very high efficient, hardworking people.
Gotcha. What do you think? Man, that's just so intriguing to think of, like, 7 people that get along with each other and are able to get things done in a quick way. What do you think has changed over the years? I mean, you've been doing this 26 years. You saw your parents doing it or your mom doing it from before. What do you think are some of the things that have changed over time that either make you better or maybe even tougher to do some of the things that we do?
So, things that have changed in the last 26 years, obviously technology has made our jobs a whole lot easier, but it also has increased the frequency of transactions, and buyers and sellers want immediate attention. And so the speed at which communication happens has probably been the biggest change. We used to drive all over town delivering contracts. Now we obviously do that over the internet and do e-signatures. I remember the first time I put a deal together on my cell phone. Sorry, my dog is joining in. So I'm riding my horse, and I just had gotten a cell phone like in the late 1990s, And a realtor calls me, and she's driving down I-25, and she's like, "Are you on a cell phone?" And I was like, "Yes." And she goes, "Isn't this cool? We're sitting here doing business, and we're not at our desks, you know." So seeing a lot of change as far as technology goes, but people want information immediately now, and so that's one area where we really tune into our clients, and that they can get a hold of us pretty much between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. We're super responsive to texts, emails, phone calls, because we know we live in a fast-paced society. So I think that's probably the biggest changes, is just how fast things happen.
Yeah, I think you and I are kind of in that same age bracket. I remember back in the late '90s getting that cell phone, and then, but it was also $1 a minute. I do remember that, and I remember, like, if you don't have something to say, then we need to stop talking, because if we talk for 20 minutes, that's $20, and I have 3 of those conversations that I'm broke from just talking on the phone about nothing.
Oh yeah.
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 But on the other side of it, I think of all like, I do reverse mortgages and spend that time with seniors all the time. And the amount of paperwork that is required to do something just seems to be astronomical compared to what it used to be. I mean, it was harder to do then because you had to do it all by hand and writing it out and all that. But, they go, well, I didn't have to sign this when I bought my first house, and I didn't have to fill out this application. And then, especially since the Dodd-Frank stuff, we think about all now my doorbell goes off. Right. So we think about, the Dodd-Frank stuff and all these extra disclosures that go out that are protecting people, that are allowing people to get stuff done. It just seems to be more informational. We need everything. We need your blood. We need, to see, what your eyesight is. We need to see how many times you brush your teeth. I mean, that's what it almost seems like these days, is that's a part of this whole transactional system that we're in. And I think people, not like yourself, some of the real estate agents that struggle, don't really understand the people business.
Oh, sure.
And,
Sure.
I can tell from talking to you. I mean, what would you say about, your ability in that people side of it that's not the transaction side of it?
Oh, for sure. So, being a good listener and actually understanding the circumstances of the specific client that you're working with, that is probably the most important thing that we do, is just understanding what they're trying to accomplish. And, there's the end result of the house, of course, but then there's the process of getting into the house and the people involved. We've got kids in schools and co-signers and movers, and just there's so many moving parts to a real estate transaction that really tuning in and listening to the client is probably the most important thing that you can do for a successful transaction.
Yeah, and how do you, and I can tell you're really good at this, but how do you, the person who says, this is what I think I want, and then you're looking at them going, no, this is what you really want, because I'm watching you, I'm listening to you, and you really don't know what you want. So how do you help them, navigate the pathway into getting, whether it's the best house that they want or in their sales transaction? What is it you do?
Well, gather information, take very good notes, and I just had a guy over the weekend who was giving me this long list of things that he wanted, but then he had a budget that wasn't going to work for the long list of things he wanted. And so I was like, in a perfect world, we could find all this for your budget, but, we're just not going to be able to do that. So you have to start thinking about trade-offs here. What things are we going to trade off to fit within the budget? And it's always the budget. I've had, people with $14 million budgets, and it always ended up being, we have to trade off something. You can't have everything that you want.
Yeah.
And so just being a very good listener. And what I think that that I bring to the table is I help people make decisions. And so we have to, just break it all down to the nitty gritty and understand. And it's all trade-offs, time versus money, or quality of construction versus features and price point and all that. And then you just have to make a decision, and making people feel comfortable that they've actually covered all the bases, they've thought about all the different things, and that they can make an intelligent decision and move forward and feel good about it without buyer's remorse.
I love that. And I specifically, you said something in there. You said, I help people make decisions. And I think one of the hardest things in this whole process for people to do is make those decisions. Like they want to keep asking somebody else, well, what do you think? Because they know what they really want. They just want somebody to affirm that what they want is the right thing. It seems like that happens so many times. Like, do you like this? My wife's this way, right? Do you like this color? And I'm like, the color's fine. No, but do you really like this color? And I say, no. Well, you don't know what I like. We've been married all these years, and you don't know what I like. I'm like, I'm okay with the color. I'm okay with whatever it is. But making that decision seems to be such a. Would you consider that, like, even maybe I was going to ask you what your superpower is, but that sounds like such a great superpower to have. Would you say that's probably helping people whittle down these big mess of things into, honing it down into the right thing?
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I would say is my superpower is I'm a professional mind maker upper person.
that's so good. Well, and then I watching this hoarder show. I don't know why I'm bringing this up, but I watched this hoarder show, and they're letting these people who like have everything that could possibly fit into their house in their house, and they're letting them like make these long decisions on what to throw out and what to not. I don't think that's my superpower, because I'd be like, wait till they go to sleep, and then it's just gone. They can't find it anymore. But to think to be able to take some of those hard concepts. What do you think is happening in our market right now? We're in this like time where it's been real estate prices, I believe, are still up. They haven't gone down. Inventory, we still don't have a lot of inventory. Maybe out where you're at, there's more inventory than down here in the city. But then, rates they can't make up their mind what they want to do. I think the clearance sale that we, from the 2019, 2022 is over. The clearance sale is not coming back for a while. But so how are you helping people navigate these higher prices with higher interest rates with, what are some of the special things that you may do with folks?
Sure. Well, again, laying out all the information, for buyers in this market with the high interest rates, they have to be able to feel comfortable with the payment. I'm not one to bank on refinancing right away. I think that you need to be able to hold on to that payment for at least 5 years. And so you just have to help people make the decision if this is the right time for them to do it or not. And it all comes down to the finances. Usually, they probably would already own a house. If finances weren't an issue. So obviously location is a big consideration when you're trying to decide where to live. And then again, trade-offs. Do you really want to drive to that location in order to save some money on the payment? So just kind of going through all the options with buyers. A lot of our buyers right now are cash buyers because they're downsizing and they don't even need a mortgage, so that's a little less important to them that more interest rates are really high. And on the selling side of it, we see mainly death, divorces, or families that are bursting at the seams and just have to get into a bigger house. People that don't have to move aren't moving right now. Or some people are taking their money out of Colorado and moving to cheaper places too.
Yeah, and you kind of live in one of those areas where Boulder County, where it can be super expensive, and then a little bit less in Will County and Lamar. I mean, how do you help? I mean, you have so many choices, I guess. How are you helping people navigate into their budgets when they're looking at? I'm coming from Boulder, but this is where I really want to be, but they don't have Boulder money. How do you help them realize what they really can afford?
It's just, again, listing out their options. We just sit down and list out the pros and cons and the costs of the different options and how they would feel about it. So I tell people, imagine yourself driving through this traffic on a daily basis, or living in this small house, because again, it's usually a trade-off on the size of the house versus the location. And just have them imagine that, and how much pain is that going to put you in. Or is it okay? So just listing out all the different things that people have to think about when they're making a decision. That's what I do.
There we go. So in your mind, like over the years, because you've been doing this 26 years, what would you say maybe the top 3 or 4 things that are most important to clients that come in and are looking to buy? What are some of those things that maybe people don't realize, but it becomes some of those most important things?
Sure. Well, most people, looking to purchase are looking to live next to trails or some outdoor activity, riding their bikes or walking. Like everybody has a dog or a cat, and so they like to live close to nature is what I typically find as far as the buyers go. As far as the sellers, they're looking to get the most amount for their house in the least amount of time with the least amount of hassle.
Gotcha. I didn't even think about that. When you said trails as being one of the number one things, that's a Colorado thing, because for people that are maybe not from here, that is important to people who live in Colorado, to be able to get outside. We love it outside, and maybe the house on the inside is not as important. Now there are sellers that want a certain type of buyer that they said, this is who I want to buy my house, and then they almost get emotional because that's been their investment, right, for the last 15, 20 years. I guess the longer they've been in the house, probably the harder it is to get rid of. How do you help them realize that, hey, we might want to take some of these pictures down because the people who are going to look at your house may not like those pictures? How do you do that? What's
Absolutely.
your conversation like?
Sure. Well, I always walk through the house, and I have a feel for the seller. If they're a quilter and they have all these quilts hanging on their walls, and it's really probably not going to show the best with those personal items up there, although they are works of art and they're very important to the seller. I will gently say less is more. The least amount of things that we have in your house, the better it's going to show. And then I also have a interior designer that I work with that will help me. She can kind of be the bad guy a little bit if people are very, very sensitive. And it's definitely a tightrope to walk with sellers, to encourage them to listen to our advice, because we are the professionals and we know what photographs well, what sells a house, what buyers are going to be attracted to, and what are really distractions is what I'm trying to say. Because I've shown buyers walking through a house and they just start looking at awards on the walls or pictures on the walls, and they totally forget about looking at the house. And it's just human nature to kind of be a little nosy. Mm-hmm. So I have a designer that works with me, and plus I tell people as well. But those are hard conversations, and we have to use a lot of tact.
Have you ever asked anybody to paint their house before you show it?
Oh yeah.
Is it gone that far? Okay.
That was one of those really tough conversations. It was a $2.5 million house, and she had her interior designer pick the color, but it had been like 10 years ago, and mm-hmm. I was like, we really need to update the colors if you want to really get top dollar. And that didn't go over very well. But eventually she painted and we got the house sold and it was fine. But definitely it's a hard conversation, and we just have to tactfully help people make decisions again to get the best result.
Gotcha. Are you seeing a trend for more inventory, or I mean, are we having to rely on new builds? Or I know with interest rates being, what did they say? 60-70% of people have interest rates under 3%, so they're not wanting to sell or not wanting to move, even though they may need to. What were you seeing as those trends?
Yes, we are relying on new construction for some inventory. There's just not a lot to choose from out there. And just not a lot of buyers looking either. So we have about a 2.3 month of supply of homes right now, which is technically a seller's market, but sellers don't feel like it's a seller's market. They're not getting very many showings, and it's just super quiet. I think this spring, though, with the interest rates kind of dipping into the sixes and the lower sixes, it's definitely bringing some buyers back out. So if interest rates do go down, we're kind of going to be off to the races again, because there's plenty of demand. There's just not enough supply.
Yeah.
Plenty of demand at a lower. Sorry, let me rephrase that. Plenty of demand at lower interest rates, like low sixes.
There you go. Well, and then the housing prices too. I mean, there's that $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 houses. There's a lot of those, but the ones that like first time people going into that are trying to buy, those seem to be a little bit harder to find. In the neighborhoods that people want to be in and where they want to be able to walk and grow, and that kind of stuff. If somebody comes to you, Dena, and says, "Hey, I'm looking at it. I think I want to look at new builds. What should I do? Should I go? Should I have you take me? Should I just go to the builder and then have them offer me whatever?" What is the benefit from coming to you first before they go look at, any house that's out there?
Sure. You're best to have a realtor go with you when you go look at new builds, because there's a lot of nuances on a new build. First of all, you're dealing with basically a for sale by owner, and you need a realtor so that they can tell you what the pitfalls could be. If you're dealing with a smaller builder, it's even a little bit more scary, because they don't have national brand behind them. If you're dealing with a bigger builder, then you have a little bit more of a reputation to go off of. So we have a full disclosure for new construction that says these are all the things that can go wrong, and the contracts are written for the benefit of the builder, not for the buyer. So it's just good to go in with your eyes open. There's not a whole lot we can do to twist their arm, other than kind of threaten their reputation. Because builders, like I said, their contracts are written for the benefit of the builder, and they're pretty tied up. They've got some good lawyers working for them. So as a realtor, though, we can say, we have a reputation with bringing our buyers to those builders, and they don't want to ruin their reputation with the realtor community. So they do try to do a good job and treat their clients well. And so we bring a little bit of clout that way, as far as being able to force builders to do certain things. Just some stories that I've had. I had a builder build a property without a window in the walkout basement. And it's like it's on the plans and everything, but they are like, oops, we didn't put it in. And
oh, we just forgot. It's just a concrete wall, huh?
And of course their contract covers them, but we were able to, throw a big fit and really talk to everybody at the company, and finally we got them to cut the window into the basement wall where it was supposed to be. I've had it where it took builders 2 years to finish a property.
Oh my God.
That was, and they were a big builder, but my client was like the first one in to make an offer on a new development, and you have to go in knowing it could take 2 years to finish.
By the time they do all the grading and lot and all that kind of stuff that has to be done. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
The city can delay things and everything. So there's a lot of pitfalls on new construction. Actually, it's not my favorite thing because there's always something that comes up. People expect a new house to be perfect, and it's never perfect. And that's the biggest, part on my part is I feel bad because it's never going to be perfect. And at least with a used home, they expect it not to be exactly perfect.
Yeah.
So it's
Well, and they kind of pull the purse strings a little bit. I know with I was doing one in Arizona, a new build in Arizona this last month, and there is Thanksgiving week, and so they all said, "Hey, we're not working this week, so you're not going to close this week, but we're ready. The house is done. Let us move in. We don't like living with our in-laws or whoever they're living with, right? No,
Yep.
we're just on vacation. Sorry." So
I
some of the things
had
that they can do.
I can tell you lots of horror stories. How to get me started.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, cool. Well, we are kind of at that time. This has been a great, enjoyable conversation. Can you please tell everybody how to get a hold of you again, and then maybe some closing thoughts that you would like everybody to know about you and your company and what you guys do?
Well, thanks. Again, I'm Dena Schlutz. I'm at www.pros.realtor, and that's my website, no .com, just pros.realtor. And my phone number is 720-734-8588. You can find me on Instagram. I'm not super active, but it's my first name and last name, Dena, last name Schlutz. So the L's before the U. And thanks so much for having me on. This has been fun.
Oh, good. Anything you want to make sure everybody knows about your?
What? We think, that we are your realtor for life. We're not going to, drop you off after the closing table and never talk to you again. We're there. We're your partner, and we want to be your resource for as long as you own the home. So we'd love to earn your business.
Oh, I love it. And one of the things I just want to, as a reminder, as a something to think about is, and I say this sometimes, is that success leaves clues. Success leaves clues. And people who are successful, what they do, are the people that we want to do business with. And you think of somebody who's now has 3 generations of realtors that are working for people, means that they've done a good job. It means that they know what they're doing. It means that they're going to get you to the finish line. And that, in your respect, is the goal. Because one of the things I want to let you know is you can do this, right? There's so many people that believe, I don't know if, whatever, this is a crazy market, I can't buy, or I don't have enough money, and they don't realize there's down payment assistance is available, or they don't realize that there are properties, maybe even in the communities that they want, that may be available. And so you can do this. The other part is you deserve this. People deserve to be able to find houses that are by trails that they can walk and be outside and enjoy this great country that we've been a part of. And the last part I would like to say is let us help you. I think that's the one pitfall that folks make, is they want to try to do this on their own. They think that, hey, it's easy to go buy a house. This is probably one of the largest transactions you'll ever make in your life. And you want to get it right the first time. So I want you to make sure that you're coming to people just like Dena to be able to do that, because you deserve it and you can do it. Just let us help you. So thank you for being here for another part of the Mile High Real Estate Spotlight podcast. We can't wait for the next one. Please just let us know what we can do to make sure that we make your purchases and your transactions and your real estate experience a great one. We'll talk to you next time. See you later. This is Brian Arnold, and if you are listening to this part, you've just watched one of our episodes of the Mile High Real Estate Spotlight, where we've just talked to one of the best of the best. And I want to thank whichever guest that was here. They are phenomenal. They are amazing. They are the top of the top, the best of the best that are in our industry, that are here with us today. And so I encourage you to please call them, pick their brains. They work for you. They enjoy working for you. They are incredibly good at it. And so I want to make sure that you give them a call. So whoever you listen to, whichever one you saw that you were there, please do that. The other thing is everyone deserves a home. Everyone deserves a home. I say that at the end of my show. You deserve it. let us help you do it. My goal is to make sure that we see homeownership. It just sickens me to see apartment complexes continue to go up, because I know those are people who haven't been able to make the call or figure out a plan. So let us help put that plan together for you. I have some websites that allow you to do that, and I'll put those in the bottom, but please do. I am a lender. I do work in the lending space. If you do not already have somebody who's pre-qualified you, I would love to be able to have that opportunity to earn your business and qualify you. My number is 720-682-2223. That's 720-682-2223. Give me a call anytime, and I would love to be able to help you with that. We also do living trust, and so when we think about an estate, to try to avoid probate and make sure that doesn't happen. So whether it's you, if you own a home, and you should have a living trust. And I will say that everyone not just deserves it, everyone needs a living trust if they own a home. And then finally, just wanted to thank you for watching these episodes. And so please tune into more. Would love for you to see and be able to shop around. So thank you for doing that. Again, I want to make sure that you know that you can do this. You deserve this. And let us help you make it happen. You guys have an awesome, wonderful, awestruck, incredible day today.